That red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
Well, I think some people resent the question. Like, what don't you get? Look, I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree with me?
Bill Maher has been making waves recently with his unfiltered commentary, especially during his appearances on The View. Known for his sharp wit and refusal to toe the party line, Maher has become a polarizing figure, even among his own political allies. His clashes with the show's hosts, including Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and Sunny Hostin, have become fiery debates that expose the underlying tensions in America's political discourse. Maher's ability to challenge extreme rhetoric and hold his ground has won him admiration from fans and critics alike, making these moments a focal point of political conversation. One of the most controversial moments unfolded during a discussion about Donald Trump and his supporters. Joy Behar equated wearing a MAGA, Make America Great Again, hat to flaunting a swastika.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country.
The implication was clear. Trump supporters were complicit in spreading hate and racism. Maher immediately countered, arguing that such a comparison was not only an exaggeration, but also counterproductive. While Maher made it clear that he does not defend Trump, he emphasized that demonizing half the country is dangerous and divisive. Nearly 74 million Americans voted for Trump, and dismissing them all as irredeemable only widens the political divide. Maher's response was a call for nuance in a world increasingly dominated by extremes. He pointed out that conflating political slogans with symbols of genocide trivializes historical atrocities while alienating millions of Americans who may have voted for Trump for reasons unrelated to race or bigotry. He argued that this approach doesn't foster dialogue, but instead deepens the divide, making it impossible to find common ground. Even The View's typically supportive audience applauded Maher's rebuttal, a sign that his message resonated. Behar, visibly flustered, attempted to salvage the moment, but her arguments failed to land. Maher had already dismantled the logic behind her remarks, leaving her position untenable. This moment exemplifies what makes Maher stand out. Unlike many of his peers on the left, he is not afraid to critique his own side. While much of the progressive movement has coalesced around a set of rigid ideological positions, Maher has built his reputation on challenging those very ideas. His willingness to call out the excesses of the left is rare in a media landscape where loyalty often trumps honesty. Maher's critique of Behar went beyond Trump and MAGA hats. It was a broader indictment of the left's tendency to dismiss opposing viewpoints as inherently immoral or ignorant. During the same appearance, Behar admitted that she hesitates to criticize President Joe Biden because she fears it might sway undecided voters toward Trump. Maher quickly pointed out the flaw in this logic, arguing that refusing to acknowledge Biden's shortcomings only erodes credibility. He explained that his own bond with his audience is rooted in his refusal to pull punches. Whether they agree with him or not, his audience knows he speaks his mind. This authenticity, Maher argued, is what sets him apart and allows him to connect with people across the political spectrum. One topic that Maher didn't shy away from was Biden's age. He described the president as cadaver-like in his demeanor, sparking a discussion about public perception and leadership. While Maher acknowledged that Trump is nearly the same age as Biden, he argued that Trump doesn't present as old in the same way Biden does. This, Maher explained, is a key factor in how voters perceive their leaders. Biden's frequent gaffes and awkward public moments, such as wandering off stage or appearing confused, make it difficult for many Americans to ignore his age. These incidents, often dismissed by the media, have become a recurring topic of debate and have fueled concerns about Biden's ability to lead effectively. Maher's critique of Biden wasn't about ageism, it was about honesty. He argued that failing to address these issues head-on undermines the left's credibility. Voters are perceptive, and pretending that these concerns don't exist only alienates those who are already skeptical of the Democratic Party's priorities. Maher's willingness to confront these uncomfortable truths is part of what makes his commentary so compelling. What sets Maher apart from other liberal commentators is his understanding of why millions of Americans support Trump. While he has been a vocal critic of the former president, Maher recognizes that for many voters, Trump represents a rejection of the excesses of the progressive left. He explained that Trump supporters don't necessarily like him, but see him as a bulwark against what they perceive as a cultural and ideological overreach. For these voters, Trump isn't just a political figure. He's a symbol of resistance to the rapid changes in societal norms that they feel have been forced upon them. Maher argued that dismissing Trump supporters as racist or ignorant ignores the legitimate concerns that drive their votes. From the redefinition of basic truths to the rise of cancel culture, many Americans feel alienated by the left's approach to cultural issues. For these voters, Trump is less about policy and more about preserving a sense of stability in a world that feels increasingly unrecognizable. Maher's ability to empathize with this perspective, even as he critiques Trump, sets him apart from many of his peers on the left. One of Maher's most pointed criticisms is that the left often sabotages itself by embracing ideas that are out of touch with the average voter. He highlighted movements like defund the police and debates over gender and biology as examples of progressive agendas that alienate more people than they attract. Maher argued that while these issues are important to some, they fail to resonate with the broader electorate. When voters are more concerned about inflation, crime, and economic stability, focusing on pronouns or canceling dissenting voices only widens the disconnect. This, Maher contended, is why Trump remains a viable political force. By prioritizing ideological purity over practical solutions, the left is driving voters into Trump's camp. Maher has frequently called out the progressive movement for its tendency to alienate moderates and independents, warning that this approach is a losing strategy. He argued that the left's obsession with identity politics and virtue signaling often blinds them to the real issues that matter to most Americans. Maher's critique extends beyond politics to include Hollywood and its role in promoting woke ideologies. He argued that many celebrities, insulated by their wealth and privilege, are out of touch with the struggles of everyday Americans. While the average voter grapples with rising gas prices, inflation, and job insecurity, Hollywood elites often focus on identity politics and performative activism. This detachment, Maher explained, not only alienates voters, but also fuels resentment toward the progressive movement as a whole. Maher's willingness to call out this hypocrisy is part of what makes him a rare voice of reason in a polarized political landscape. He has repeatedly argued that the left's focus on symbolic victories often comes at the expense of addressing real-world problems. By alienating the very people they claim to represent, progressives risk losing elections and undermining their own credibility. At the heart of Maher's commentary is a call for
fed
common
up
sense.
with the absurdity,
Whether
it's
he's
as if the
addressing
woke
political
mob wrote his
polarization,
campaign ads
woke
for
culture,
free.
or the left's strategic missteps, Maher consistently advocates for a more balanced approach. He argues that demonizing opponents and embracing out-of-touch ideas only deepens the divide and weakens the left's position. His willingness to challenge both sides of the political spectrum has made him a polarizing figure, but it's also what makes his commentary so impactful. Maher's recent appearances on The View have highlighted his ability to navigate complex political issues with honesty and nuance. Whether he's taking on Joy Behar's inflammatory comparisons or challenging the left's reluctance to engage with opposing viewpoints, Maher has proven himself to be a master of debate. His critiques, grounded in common sense and a commitment to authenticity, offer a refreshing alternative to the hyper-partisan rhetoric that dominates modern discourse. As the political landscape continues to evolve, Maher's voice remains an important one. By calling out hypocrisy and urging for a more balanced approach, he challenges both the left and the right to confront their own flaws. In doing so, Maher reminds us that meaningful change begins with honest, open dialogue and a willingness to listen to those who disagree.